Welcome to Muscle Maintenance within Shape Fitness. I'm Coach Kim, and today's podcast workout is a holiday HIIT, a high intensity interval training session that is not actually so long, but it is going to include some fairly complex and multifaceted exercises that will get your heart rate up and keep it up for the duration. It is the end of the year. 2019 is ending tomorrow, and that means we are ready to hit the ground running with not necessarily New Year's resolutions, because I'm not big into them and I never have been. However, it is always a great way to just start anew, to have anything that you can sort of plant in the ground, to stake into the ground and say, this is the time that I'm going to make a difference in terms of the way I look at how my body, how I train my body, how I take care of myself, and to maximize on that opportunity to start fresh. So let's get started quickly with a postural systems check. And that means that I want you to stand up really tall. Pretend that someone has a rope attached to the top of your head and is pulling you kind of up with a string, kind of like a marionette. So you don't want to, kind of just suck in your gut and arch your back, but just lift through your rib cage, expanding that space in between each of your ribs. That helps elongate your spine, and you'll stand up straighter. And it also helps orient the rest of your body parts to have really good proper posture for the movement of the body in a proper way as well. So your head is obviously sitting on top of your neck, but you want to think about the placement of your head, because when you crane your neck forward, when you're looking at a screen, at a computer, or driving a car, maybe certainly when you're typing on your devices, as you're looking down, your head is not in the sort of anatomically neutral position. If your head cranes forward regularly, you are altering your center of gravity. And that actually, it may, as you get older, be an element that contributes to your potential to fall down. But even as you walk or jog or bike or conduct yourself in any regular exercise regimen, your body's sort of ability to stay balanced, to execute moves with precision and accuracy, is affected by that deviation from proper posture. So you want your ears and your shoulders to line up, and you want your shoulders to be back. That means that your chest is fully open, that your respiration is more efficient, and it helps make sure that you're not pulling on the back muscles. Then finally, almost finally, you want to make sure that your pelvis is straight, not tilting forward, which means that your butt sticks out. That is a condition known as lordosis, and it's a natural consequence, an unhealthy natural consequence of sitting all day, of our sedentary existence. So when you sit down, you're resting on the bottom part of your butt. Your hip flexors are contracting and getting weaker and shorter as a result of that inactivity, and your pelvis, as a result, leans in a little bit, and then your butt sticks out more. So you're contracting the lower back muscles, and your even the neuromuscular response, all the neurons that activate and help you manage your movement, are negatively impacted by the sort of sleepiness of that area of your body. So you want to think about tucking in your tailbone if you sit all day, and thinking about zipping up your tummy muscles so that your abs are fully activated as you begin to move. Now, finally, your legs and your feet. So make sure that your toes don't stick out. You want your feet to be parallel to one another. That's important, because when you open up your feet with your toes, you're going to feel more stable, but you're putting more pressure, more activity is centered around your quads, your thigh muscles, which I call the bully muscle group of the body, because they kind of take over. They'll do pretty much all work, and most people have pretty strong, maybe not anatomically capable thighs, but they have strong and big muscle groups, big thigh muscles. So that helps get the job done, but it actually takes away from the balanced approach to standing up strong and a foundational strength in terms of the sides of your legs, your inner thighs, your smaller muscles at in the lower pelvis region, and your hamstrings. So make sure that your feet are straight, and then just lastly, make sure that you're not putting too much pressure on the left foot versus the right foot. We're going to talk a little bit about that distinction in a bit, because it is a really important part of making sure that you train your body properly between the dominant leg and your weaker leg. But for now, let's do a couple of really easy exercises to warm you up. We're going to get a little dynamic in a minute, but I want to make sure that we are starting with some basics. So let's begin with a little jog or march in place. We're going to march or jog in place for about 45 seconds. So if you're relatively fit, you can add a shoulder press in order to activate the upper body as well. And you're jogging, kicking your feet back, and moving your body, in a fairly dynamic aerobic way. We're about 20 seconds in. You can also march. If you don't like the idea of jogging, you can march by lifting up one leg high and then the other, of course. So 15 more seconds of jogging in place or marching in place with that shoulder press to activate the upper body. Keep your back straight. Make sure that as you begin to experience the elevated heart rate, you want to inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Excellent. Okay, now pause and bring your feet to a heel to toe position or close to it, depending on how good your balance is. So start, if you're right-legged or right dominant, bring your right foot towards the rear with your left foot in the front, and then extend your arms out to the sides, palms face down, and stand up tall and straight. Slowly turn your head all the way to the right. Then slowly turn your head all the way to the left. You should feel a little off balance because we're discombobulating the equilibrium of your inner ear, and that is the purpose of this exercise called the lighthouse. Really simple in terms of executing it, but extremely challenging in terms of executing it well. You don't want to fall over or waver, but you might feel that difficulty immediately as you begin to move your head, because the small muscles that reside in your ankles and in your feet, up the sides of your legs, the lower legs, you're going to struggle to kind of keep contact with your floor. Now switch your feet and do the other side. Okay. And if you're right-footed or right dominant, that means that when your left foot is in the back, you're probably going to have an even harder time executing this exercise. But the lighthouse is an exercise that I do with corporate clients a lot. Just in the office setting, it is such a great way. That as you work, if you work in an office once an hour, every half an hour actually is better to stand up and kind of stretch out a little bit, move around a little bit, go to the bathroom, go to the break room, whatever. Also, adopt the lighthouse as an exercise to just quickly do every once in a while to, generate a little heat inside the body. You've got a lot of heat probably in your brain, but we need a little more activity in the body if we're gonna figure out a way to sustainably take care of our human bodies with the future the way it looks in terms of the high cost of our healthcare and the high cost of actually going to gyms and things like that. So we're focused on making sure that you can just do what you can with what you have, and these simple exercises are a great way to do that. Okay, now we're going to get into some of the hard stuff. So the first thing is something we call a lunge leap. We did this in the exercise regimen, the 12 days of Christmas this year. For the first time that we added this exercise to our repertoire at the company, where you pick one leg to start. So start with your dominant leg staying flat on the floor. You're going to do a high knee skip with the left knee. So you lift up high, and then from there, From that skip, you go into a reverse lunge, and that means that the left leg extends far back behind the body so that when you bend both knees, you get 2 right angles out of both the left leg in the rear and the right leg in front. Your feet don't turn out, your feet stay pointed forward, and your body stays straight. And then continue with, we'll do more of them in a minute, but let's just do 3 on each leg to begin. Again, we call these lunge leaps, and they are one of my new favorite exercises because they burn the quads, they work the butt, and they are really aerobic. Okay, now you should have been able to do 3 on each leg. What I want you to do next is the same move, only couple that lunge, the leap part, the high knee skip, with a lateral lunge. Okay, so you're going to lift up the left leg into a high knee skip, and then as you extend the leg back down towards the floor, it's going to go out to the left side as you bend the right knee and stick the right, the butt out as you bend down, and your left foot stays forward, but you're going to feel that extension through the inner thigh of the left leg, and then you go right back into the high knee skip. So we've got 3 with the left leg, 3 with the right leg again. We're going to combine these. We're going to do some other things, and it's going to all culminate in a bit of a 5-minute or so kind of a mashup of the different moves that we're focusing on learning right now. So we've got the lunge leap, the lateral lunge leap. Okay, make sure that you are breathing in through your nose and making sure that you're exhaling through your mouth. So now you've done 3 of each. That's a total of 12 of these lunge leaps. What I want you to do next is to execute 3 really, really solid walkout push-ups. All right, 3 walkout push-ups means that you put your hands down on the floor. You squat down into a frog squat by keeping your back straight, keeping your chest high. But then you walk out like a 4-legged animal to the push-up starting position. If you have to drop to your knees to do your push-ups, that's fine. But execute 1 push-up, then walk your hands back and stand back up. And we're going to do 3 of those just again to activate, to teach that move, to practice that move a little bit, and to be ready to incorporate it. It's called a walk-out push-up. All right, that's going to be something we do down on the bottom, do as part of this mashup that we're going to take care of or that we're going to work towards in just a couple of minutes. Okay, the next thing that I want you to do is to go down to the floor, hold a plank on your forearms, and then what I want you to do is lift to a side plank and then lift to the other side plank. So we call this a low plank rotational reach, but it's just a side plank, moving side plank from side to side, from left side to right side. So we'll call that a moving side plank, just to be standard and try to keep the number of words to a minimum. So we're doing 3 of those to practice, and then I want you to stand back up. All right, now we're going to do 3 lightning bolt squats. So a lightning bolt squat is where you extend your arms above your head, your palms face each other, and your biceps are right next to your ears, straight up. And then you're going to sit down into a squat, a regular standard squat. And the standard squat means that your knees aren't going to go past the tips of your toes, but your knees are going to go a little far forward. You're going to bend at your ankles a little far forward, and you're going to keep your back straight and your chest high until your butt is about parallel to, equal to your knees. You don't have to go lower than your knees. And then I want you to stand up and sit back down 3 times. Those are lightning bolt strikes because your body creates a lightning bolt squats, not lightning bolt strikes, because your body itself looks like the zigzag of a lightning bolt. All right, so lightning bolt squats. We've done 3 of those. All right, now we're going to go back to the floor and we're going to get into tabletop. Tabletop is one of my favorite positions, and I do lots of variations of tabletops because it forces the chest to be open so much. One of the biggest challenges that I have with private clients and with corporate clients that I see has to do with the fact that people do sit at their desk all the time, or they're not at their desk necessarily, but they're still typing away on some sort of device or iPad or keyboard of some sort. And that closes the chest. It rounds the back and closes the chest. Tabletops force that open. So when you sit down on the floor, you bend your knees and plant your feet flat on the floor and then point your fingers forward, because you want to utilize your entire arm. And as you lift up, don't mash the heel of your hand into the floor, but rather use your entire palm. Just like when your hands are on the floor for a push-up, right? When you mash the heel into the floor, the heel of the hand into the floor, you're putting undue pressure on the wrist, and you don't want to do that. So you lift up into the tabletop, and this is hard for a lot of people, but again, this is supposed to be a little more intensive for the end of the year and the beginning of the 2020 year. So let's just, if you're not able to do more than just get into tabletop, obviously you need to do that and push yourself only to your own limits, but or just maybe past your personal limits. But if you can execute a kick, we call these crab kicks or tabletop kicks. So we'll call them crab kicks because I prefer fun names to not so fun names. Crab kicks are where you're in tabletop, you keep your hips up really high, but you lift up one knee and kick out the foot and then the other. Just do a couple of those. That is the 7th exercise that we've got so far, including the postural systems check, the 6th for our HIIT mashup. And I want to get going on that HIIT mashup now because maybe we'll add a jumping jack in the middle of it, just for the variety of exercises that we do on your feet before we get going with this mashup. All right, so go ahead and stand back up, and let's start with, we're going to go for 5 minutes, starting at the 18-minute mark here. And we're going to begin with jumping jacks because everybody knows jumping jacks. So go ahead and get started. All right, when you jump out, make sure your feet stay forward. Make sure that you touch your hands up at the top. You don't want too much of a bend in your elbows. And now, walk out, one walkout push-up. But before you stand back up, go into a side plank, drop down to your elbows, go from a left side plank to a right side plank. Then go back up onto your hands, execute one more push-up, and then walk back to the standing up position. As soon as you get to the standing up position, I want you to lift up the left knee and execute a lunge leap with the left leg and a second one. Now make that a left leg lateral lunge leap, extending the left leg out to the side, and a second one. And now 3 jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3. Now lift up the right leg for a right front lunge leap and a second one, and then a right lateral lunge leap and then a second one. Now lift up those arms. Let's do 3 lightning bolt squats. Lower the body down as you inhale and exhale as you lift back up, and then back down, and then exhale as you lift back up. Now we're going, as soon as you finish that one, we're going right back into your walk out push-up position. Execute 1 push-up, and then turn your body over. You're going to get into tabletop position, and for 15 seconds, I want to see those tabletop kicks. We are 2.5 minutes in, so halfway through. As you are kicking up your feet in the tabletop position, these crab kicks, you want to keep your hips up high. Keep your fingers facing forward. Then when you finish with the last one, turn your body over into a low plank on your forearms. Go from the left side to the right side One more time to the left side and to the right side. Then lift your body up into the push-up position. Execute one more push-up. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet and stand back up. Now go right back to those lightning bolt squats. Down for 3. Inhale on the way down. Exhale as you lift back up. We've got 1.5 minutes to go. Inhale on the way down. Exhale as you lift back up. When you finish the third one, let's go with 5 jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, 5 lateral lunges to the left. Lateral lunge to the left. 5 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And let's go 5 lateral lunges to the right. Again, 1. You got this. 2. Keep breathing. 3, 4, and 5. 5 more jumping jacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 3 lunges straight up with the left leg and back. Standard lunge leaps. 3 on the left side and 3 on the right. 30 seconds to go. You've got this. Keep going. Push yourself hard. Here I want you to do a walk-out push-up all the way down. Walk your hands out. Execute one push-up. Then lower down to your low plank. Turn to the left. Turn to the right. Turn your body over. Get yourself into tabletop. One last time. Lift those hips up high. And do as many kicks as you can for the last 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Lie on your back. Take a couple of seconds. Stretch out your side. And listen, these are really simple exercises. So that was just 5 minutes. Go back to the 18-minute mark and complete that a second time. Maybe even a third time. You don't need a gym to execute on the goals that you set to take care of your body. All that you need, please listen carefully, is the education about the moves that you need to know, right? You need to learn the right moves. That is one of the main reasons why I have focused our entire company almost on body weight exercises, so that you don't need stuff in order to exercise your body. You do need knowledge and you need to practice. Once you master these moves individually, you can create all kinds of combinations that elevate your heart rate, work the entire body, add flexibility components to the training, and obviously work the aerobic components of your exercise regimen that you otherwise think you need to rely on a cardio machine for, and obviously then there's like strength and balance and things like agility and plyometrics. They're all built in, and you've got it all already in your body. You just need to make it work. I'm Coach Kim from In Shape Fitness. This was our last workout podcast for 2019, but I will of course be back next week for another new episode of the In Motion Workout, the Muscle Maintenance Workout podcast, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you have about this. Thanks so much. Happy New Year and have a great day.